So I'd love to just get straight in and talk about how you're using data to find the most attractive customers, using all these new techniques. So Sanjeev, I mean, it's great to actually have both of you here because you represent a really established company. Sanjeev and Aaron, you guys are relatively new, right? So when did you get founded?
December 2012.
2012, yeah. So less than 2 years old. So you've got completely different problems. Can you first talk about the issues that you had in terms of collecting data to do a better job on marketing and some of your biggest challenges? Sanjeev, can you start?
So we are in the business of attracting small businesses to use our small business cards under open. And the challenge what we face is how do we reach them and how do we identify them in the world? Every consumer is not a small business owner, but every small business owner is also a consumer. So for us, the biggest challenge was to identify among all of the consumers who are out there, how do we identify who is a small business owner, as well as to identify the quality of that small business in terms of the data. There are 5 key elements which we look for when we design our products and target them: the revenue of the company, the number of employees, what industry they are in, what's the business tenure, and which life cycle under which this business belongs. Is it in the growth phase, whether it's in a startup phase, whether it's in a steady period, or they are on a decline phase. And accordingly, we do market. And what we find is the quality of that data is very challenging out there in the marketplace. There's not much accuracy with the data. And we are trying constantly to look for partners who can provide much more reliable information so that we can target them with more confidence.
Great. Thank you. Aaron.
Yeah, so at Zen Payroll, we had an interesting challenge. Obviously, all of our customers have really solid data set for their business. We run their payroll. So I guess, at its core, we have all the data that we need for that company. And the challenge that we had was really trying to expand nationally with our payroll service and identifying which types of customers were the best fit for our service. And so we really wanted to have a better insight into our existing data and see what our customers really look like, and then how we could use that information to build smarter marketing campaigns. We're still an early stage startup, so we're still pretty scrappy and trying to figure out the best way to target our customers.
Great. And you're both actual customers of Radius. And so I wanted to talk next about how you actually went down this road and how you made that decision to actually go team up with Radius on your data questions. They talked with you backstage, and Darian was talking about how he wants to be a BI tool that gets the most data possible around the business and indicating health of businesses and so on. Could you talk a little bit about how you came across the solution and what it was that you needed from them?
So we are constantly in touch with small businesses or startups or ventures who are working in this particular area. And as you said, there are 1,400 different companies out there who are trying to solve some kind of a problem. Yeah. And it's always difficult to find what the right match is. And for us, I think it was the match in the goals of the two companies, right? We were trying to come up with the best solution available for small businesses. So did Radius. Radius' whole goal was to find the best available information about the small businesses so that we can serve them better, provide them with better solutions. And that's exactly what our mission is on the open side, is to find the best solution for that particular business. And for us, that was the most important connecting point between Darian and us, where we were saying that we are trying to solve the same problem, and let's come together and solve the problem for the small businesses. So that's basically how we came across and found that synergy between the two.
And are you using it internally for your own business in terms of assessing customers that are risk-worthy, credit-worthy for you guys to take on business with?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that in terms of how they've helped you to do that?
So I think we are not using Darian's models as such, which he has developed quite a bit. What we rely on is the raw data which Darian is providing. We have our own data scientists, we have our own big data labs, we have our own intelligence built into our proprietary models. But Darian's data provides us that lift in terms of discrimination, whether it's on response rate, whether it's in terms of riskiness. We are still in the early stages of testing. NRR, or the net response rate, we have already found value. We are still researching in terms of on the risk side to see how the data coming from Radius Intel going to help us from their
Great.
perspective.
Aaron, are you in the same stages, or can you talk a little bit about how you confronted your problems and how you ended up using Radius?
Yeah, I wish we were in the same stage, maybe in 10 years. No, we're definitely in the early stages of getting started. And so when we found Radius, it was really interesting. I mean, we, again, are early stage, we need to move quickly. From the time we started looking at Radius to the time we really implemented was less than a week. I mean, we had heard of the solution, but when we really made the decision to move forward, it only took me a few days to get started. And me as the marketer, I was the only one to just get it going. I didn't have to use anyone on my development team. And it was pretty great. I mean, as a marketer, I hear the fluff. I sometimes put it out there myself, the really quick get started. It really only takes 30 minutes, I promise, and then 3 days later, you're still working on it. Yeah. Literally in 5 minutes, I was up and connected to Salesforce and was able to see actionable insights. And it's really exciting to see. I mean, literally as soon as I got set up, was able to see what industries we were doing really well in, which states we were strong in, which states we were having challenges. And just being able to break all that data down was really exciting. So it's kind of like, getting a chance to see that on the trial. It was a no-brainer to
I want to come back to Darian in a second. Can you talk a little bit about, so you've got all this great payroll data, so I would imagine you have some access to some really interesting stuff, and you mentioned that you, I don't know how you actually are able to use it to predict when you've actually got a good customer vertical that you found that can actually predict that you're going to do well in this particular vertical. But can you talk a little bit about how to use data to do that more efficiently? I mean, he's doing everything from tracking Yelp review scores in San Francisco and New York and determining that those are actually good, whereas if it's in LA, they're actually not as good, right? Can you talk a little bit about the correlations that you're finding with data that help you find better customers?
Yeah, it's really exciting. We're able to see kind of the health of a company, and as they hire more employees and add them to our system, obviously we can see that, and we can see the salaries and things like that of the wages that those employees are making. But the really interesting thing about Radius is that it lets us put a level of data that we're not collecting today. All of this socially available data that we don't currently have access to through our customers. We're not necessarily going to ask them all those things. We're able to then enrich our data and get a better insight. So a couple of things that we've learned about our customers, for example, is that we find our customers who are on Twitter are actually going to convert at a higher rate than those who are not. We find that our customers who are using Square are converting at a higher rate than those who are not, and those with a website. All things that we kind of intuitively knew on our marketing team about, we're looking for customers who are a little more modern or willing to adopt, an early new solution. But this really helped us prove and show our founding team, like, hey, look, this is actually what's happening. In a way that didn't require us to go out and hire a data scientist, like I know we will need eventually one day.
Yeah. No, that's great. I did want to turn to Darian, and also want to make sure that you're able to ask some questions too. So the audience, if you have any questions, just raise your hand, and we'll let you ask some questions. We got 10 minutes left, but Darian, we've heard from a bunch of companies over the course of the day that are doing predictive sales or predictive marketing in some form or another, right? So we've heard from a whole host of companies, Inside Sales and Infer and Lattice Engines. We've touched upon Sales Predict and Orb Intelligence. I mean, there's a lot of folks, and then you're going up against some really established players like Dun and Bradstreet and some others in terms of the BI information around companies. Can you talk about some of the things that your customers are most needing these days and benefiting from? How do you differentiate from all these players? Like, what are you doing that's special?
It's interesting to see that the approach that a lot of companies have taken in the past 10 years has really been around brand marketing, inbound marketing, and many different ways of actually just buying lists. And my belief is that the way in which predictive marketing is going to transition is you're going to go from companies that are doing inbound marketing and brand marketing to acting much more like risk managers. And the life of the risk manager is really about taking external data and taking insights and analytics and determining ways of whether to provide a loan or not. And for a marketer, that process is going to be the same for determining qualified customers and determining who they're going to go after next. That process of actually getting external data, incorporating it into your system, and actually determining insights and determining whether those are qualified prospects or verticals to target is very difficult to do. It's something that Amex does very well because their marketing and risk organizations are very closely aligned. But most other organizations don't have risk managers. They need to focus on how they can use external data to act more like predictive folks, so they can look at ways in which they can look at verticals that are actually going to convert. So for us, realistically, most of our customers buy two solutions, or they buy a data provider and then they also go and buy a bunch of BI tools and sort of strap them together. That typically has pretty negative results, and sometimes flat growth in a lot of cases for most of our customers. When they convert and use us, they sort of see that they're actually able to take advantage of our insights and connect their Salesforce installation to Radius. And based on that connection, we immediately learn all the businesses that they currently have good success with. And then we recommend new segments that they should be targeting based on their current success. That is something that is very close alignment between the marketing organization and really using Radius as an outsourced data science system. It is a decision platform for B2B marketing. There is no other company that does those two well, that has singular data on 26 million businesses, contact info, rich information, health of the business, and then also has analytics on which of those prospects are best for my business as a customer. Those are things that are very unique about Radius and that make it such that customers, when they see it, they sort of say, oh, why am I buying all these disparate solutions? I should just go with a fully integrated solution, the same way that I went in with a fully integrated solution as Salesforce. And so we're thinking about it in the same way as that the way that the CRM has revolutionized your sales organization, Radius is going to revolutionize your marketing organization.
Yeah, great. Anybody in the audience have questions for this session, for this panel? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I do have a question. You guys are talking about data a lot, and you have to figure out where you're going to store your data. So managing the risk of privacy breach for all these enterprise.
Here's a microphone right here. So it sounds like you have a couple questions? Or,
Okay, here's my question.
okay.
Okay, is it safer to put your trust in cloud systems like Google, App Engine, Amazon, and Microsoft Azure, or keep the risk in-house?
Yeah, it's always, I mean, yeah, like data integrity is incredibly important to us, and it's something that we take really seriously. Everyone is moving to the cloud. There's absolutely no reason why you should use on-premise software. So,
Sanjeev, do you agree with that? You're nodding.
I
I thought that might be
think it all depends. We are absolutely maniacally focused on privacy and the data breach. So we are a little bit much more careful in terms of putting data on the cloud. So given where we are from American Express, we are really taking that very seriously, and we mostly up till now have relied on in-house solutions with all kinds of controls, using clouds, but again, developing it in-house rather than outsourcing it.
Great. Yeah.
Now you're going out of house?
Pardon?
Did you say until now, meaning you're going out of house?
No. So we are going to keep it in-house. We are looking for partners in terms of external data providers or solutions, but still managing it within our own boundaries, not outsourcing it completely.
Yep. So Aaron, I'm not going to let you get off of this. Like payroll data in the cloud or
It
not?
is,
Okay.
yes.
It is in the cloud. Okay.
It is in the cloud, and we felt it's a better solution for our customers. It's also something we take very seriously and make sure that we protect at all levels possible. But right now, there's no reason for us to have it in-house, and it helps us scale. We have customers who tell us they ran payroll from the ski slopes or laying on a beach. So we want to enable them to be able to do that wherever they want to.
Right. So Sanjeev, I mean, you talk about the need to stay on premise with a lot of this secure information. When it comes to marketing, to the extent that you can speak for it, can you talk a little bit about the availability of some of this newer tech for folks that are on premise? Or I mean, do you feel like you're restrained because a lot of these solutions are actually coming out on the cloud? I mean, your service in particular, right? I mean,
Are we strained?
Restrained.
Restrained in what
what
way?
you're doing.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I think the technology and the amount of interest which we can see here with the audiences here, this thing is definitely for sure that we are going to move into big data and data availability will become like second nature. And the challenges associated with that will also increase in terms of privacy and associated problems in storing that kind of information. So I think we'll have to work together in terms of finding the right solutions as well as protecting the data and information in such a way that we take the best of both the worlds and still serve the customers the best we can.
Yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, I've got one. I want to go to Aaron just one more time and talking about your stack. Can you talk a little bit about your marketing tech stack? I mean, you're starting fresh. You've got venture backing, right? So you imagine you've got some resources to go spend on solutions. Can you talk a little bit about how you set yourself up, maybe organizationally, to go after growth, right? And then maybe some of the other solutions that you're using.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined the team, first person on our marketing team. We've just been growing ever since, which is really exciting. And now there's probably about 10 people on our team now. And we have both outbound and inbound approaches. So we are doing some marketing on kind of the paid search side, stuff that Radius really helps us with in terms of retargeting and also lookalike audiences. It's been really popular for us. We do a lot of press and publicity and inbound creating content. But in terms of other tools that we're using, in addition to Radius, we use Salesforce for all of our CRM and building our sales teams out, being able to use that. And for marketing automation, we're using Pardot currently. A lot of different tools, Optimizely to help us with optimization. We've done some with Unbounce. Yeah, I mean, we're not shy to trying new tools and testing things out to see what's working. So, yeah.
Great. Any questions out there? So Darian, I wanted to talk with you about this. I think you have some sort of reliability feature that's coming out.
Reliability.
Or is it predictability in terms of?
Well,
you mentioned something about a new feature that you're testing.
So directionally, like where we plan on going is we try to find ways in which we can recommend new segments to our customers and be a lot more predictive. Absolutely everything about what we do and is looking at how we can be more and more predictive and help marketers use us as a decision science platform. Yeah. And so looking at different ways of understanding the confidence of certain data points as well as understanding which segments are going to convert more effectively and insights into the conversion of those segments as well is going to be key. But our goal is really to be that perfect mix of great data and great decision science on top of that data. So yeah.
Okay, great. So when is that coming up?
We're rolling out features week by week, so you'll have to pay for an installation. So.
All right. Okay, got to pay. So we've got about 15 seconds left. Do you have any last questions for this panel? Otherwise, we'll get an early drink. I don't see any hands. All right, 5, 4. So guys, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.